No! Not more of this game. Not more Bleak Dystopia. I think I'm almost finished with this game. So I'm kind of looking forward to being done with it, deleting the game off my system. It's a little bit big, it's taking up some space, and this might be, I think it should be my final play of this game. I could have done it all in one go, but I thought it seems easier to just quit out of the game rather than walk all the way back to the entry point that I needed to get to. So like I took one path, and then when I got to the end of that path I quit, and then I walked to the other path, and when I got to the end of that path I quit, and now I'm at the end. All I have to do is go inside this building, and then once I get inside this building, I think I just search out everything in this building, and then I'll be done, and I'll get the trophy or whatever. The platinum trophy.
What was a world where every man, regardless of his contribution to society, had the same as the other man?
I've lowered the voice enough that it's not gonna overpower my voice. Now we just get in through here. Is that right? No. I know there's a way in. I've done it before. It must be over there.
There should be no disparities amongst people. That was exactly what the world.
Yeah, these stairs, right?
After all, no one wanted to live in a world where.
All right, here we are.
Was the order of the day. Families fighting for control of dynasties. Governments wrestling for more power.
Good so far?
Such was the nature of humans. Wanting more and more.
Guess I'll just go around this way.
Private ownership of properties and goods would.
Alright, I'm starting to see some yellow.
Was he not right? The powerful preyed on the
I guess I'll go to this one first.
That was how it had always been. Oppression and suppression. Tools used to subdue.
Maybe I can do this one on my way to the stair.
Slaves.
I don't know. I'll just do it now. Accountant. I work as an accountant. Live a pretty basic life. I didn't go to college though, but I had certification, trophy earned accountant, by the way. I had a certification for accounting from a business school. I'm interested in history. I want to learn about how the world was in the past. Did people have it as hard as we currently do now? It's almost like people have forgotten how to be happy. It's really sad. Let me just turn to face him. Oh, there we go. Oh, he's got a little counter thing in front of him. That makes sense. It's almost like people have forgotten how to be happy. It's really sad. My mother and father are farmers, and they live in the countryside. Their lives were simple, and I visit them from time to time, though I've tried to move them to the city. They claim that they've had enough of whatever was going on in the city and just want to live peacefully. Can't say I blame them. They have gone through a lot. They were around when society crumbled, and when I was little, all the stories they told me about that period sound like horror stories. It wasn't something I could comprehend, the way people were killed and the way things were destroyed. I'm in my 40s and I have a fiance. We got engaged not so long ago, and we'll be married soon. I earn enough money so I know I can take care of my family. Every evening when I get back from work, I would look myself in my lock. Does it say lock or look? Lock, right? They got it right. They got it right. I would lock myself in my room and do research on history and philosophy. They are extremely vast fields that I doubt I'll be able to exhaust anytime soon. That's what I keep researching because I want to know more. I want to understand better. What happened all those many years ago has to be studied so something like that doesn't happen again. It's more like a pastime for me, something I could do to recover from work stress. History and philosophy have become my second life. I have probably learned enough to be a degree holder in those fields. Alright, good to know. Thank you.
Those who clung tightly to hope that everyone live in harmony. People
So,
have to live in chaos.
yeah.
The old world was plagued with wars, suicides, insecurity, and all different vices.
What am I doing now?
People
Oh yeah, this guy.
suffered under the tyranny of leaders and powerful men and
Chauffeur. What is going on here?
already.
That was my exact thought when I returned to my country. I used to work as a chauffeur just to support the party
When there was
I was a member of at the time.
that could not be achieved.
I went abroad as a driver, but unfortunately, I couldn't return to my country. The group kidnapped me and took me hostage. Okay.
Buildings rose up. Beautiful
It was scary, and I really thought I was going to die.
and the city
I was stripped of everything I had and was released after a few months penniless.
the same structure
I had to find a way to get back home to my family.
as equally
All my efforts to contact them weren't successful, and I couldn't even imagine what they must have been going through. They must have thought I died or abandoned them. I started doing odd jobs here and there and started working so I could afford another flight back home. It took me 23 years of overworking and hustling to be able to survive in the new country I found myself
abolished the concept of money.
and to be able to show my family at home that I wasn't returning empty-handed.
Worth to the society
The new country that I found myself in should be.
almost failsafe.
Now, it's not what they wrote though. Now, being back, I can see that so much has changed. The country wasn't as I left it. Even my family. My wife fainted when she saw me, probably thinking that I was a ghost. My children no longer recognize me. They don't know who I am. I have become a total stranger to the people I love the most. They are slowly coming to accept me back after I explained everything that happened to me when I traveled. It was indeed a misfortune. Everything I believed in is shattered. I don't even understand what happened to my beloved country, how it went from this bubbly society filled with life and colors to this dull, controlled life.
Government's upturning.
Okay?
They would
I have survived in a place I didn't know before. I will survive here too.
be at the same level as anyone else. They saw the cracks
Good for you.
in the seemingly perfect
We're already going to that one?
and decided that the only way to fix the cracks was to shatter the glass wall.
Where the heck? Oh, I see. That was, yeah, right there. I see where I was. Okay, yeah, that's where I came from.
Control, and they wouldn't rest.
And then there's, okay.
Their beliefs were
Anything else here?
people shouldn't live in a
Looks like this side is pretty much covered,
be able to
but
control
there's some more on the other side of this.
and get whatever they wanted, even if it meant
Let's
cheating.
just start with this one.
People should be able to choose whether
Salesman.
they wanted to be
Why can't I find children to crowd around my shop, eager to eat my candies?
overthrow the
Trophy earned salesman. I work as a confectioner, and I have my own shop. It's a small shop, but it provides me with everything I need. I love selling colorful candies, and I make them from scratch myself. It is tough work, but I enjoy it. The look of genuine happiness and pure bliss on the kids' faces fills me with so much satisfaction. I only have a son, and he's in his teenage years. My wife died from cancer just this past year. It hasn't been easy living without her, but we've managed to get by. She was really a joy to be around, and it is so sad that cancer took her away from us. Yes, it is so sad. Sometimes I wonder who's having the toughest time between my son and I. Tough competition. I know it's wrong to compare suffering, but there's so much in the world that I wished I could have shielded him from. Shielded him from. Alright, it doesn't seem related to the being weird comparing them, but after the disaster that happened, I haven't seen any children around, any happy children around again. My business has gone downhill too because children hardly came around to buy candies. Right, yeah. When tragedy strikes, children don't want candy. That's real. It is really sad. The disaster that led to many deaths and destruction of properties has also planted sorrow in the hearts of many. Yep, sorrowful children hate candy. Yep. I'm just glad that this side of town was spared from what befell the other cities. I hope that we can move on from this unfortunate incident and learn to be happy again. At least the children should. Children shouldn't have to go through things like this. Their worries should be about little things, about their favorite shows, and whether they wanted more food. Okay? I want to be able to see the smiles on children's faces as they enjoy something simple like eating candies. I get it. I believe it. It will happen soon. I'll keep making candies and selling them. Well, I mean, it sounds good. I think children will eventually like to have candy. I don't know why they don't want candy now. It just feels a bit odd. But if you say so. Children hate candy because of the apocalypse. I guess that's the truth. Fashion designer. Being a fashion designer with big dreams wasn't easy. In a world like this, wasn't an easy thing. Being a fashion designer with big dreams wasn't an easy thing. In a world like this, wasn't an easy thing. Sure. It seemed like our perfect society didn't give room for creatives to showcase their talent anymore. Still, I pushed forward until I got my big break. I'm currently in my 40s and there's so much that I want to do, so much I want to see. Growing up, I had a difficult life, made only worse in my youth. Life hasn't been kind to me, but I still persevered. My parents died when I was just a teenager and I was left alone. I had no one left to turn to and had to live on the had to live on the streets for a long time. I stole and did a lot of things that I'm not proud of, just so I could survive. Survival was foremost in my mind, and I did anything I could just to live. Okay.
Rather than trying to solve the situation, they would want to live for themselves. It would only be a matter of time.
What was I saying?
When food became
Survival was foremost in my mind. I did anything to live. Right, life was brutal for people that didn't have anything. No one cares about us. Many people died in the streets with no one to even bury them. I purpose within me never to end up like them. Good purposing. I took charge of my own life and rewrote my own story. After all, our lives are the one thing that we have some control over. I managed to make something good out of my own life. I started to learn fashion designing, and one day, I designed a dress that someone was willing to pay a lot of money for. That was how my life story changed. I opened my own fashion line, and now I'm successful. My thought was that I would replace the land fortune with all the beautiful clothes I sewed. Maybe one day, my dream will come true. I don't think so.
And it would simply be impossible
Because I hate you.
to please everyone, no matter how hard the effort. The sky would turn gray.
Alright, so I think we're almost done with this floor. And we'll head up to floor 2.
Damaged cars and properties seem to be
I have to get over to that guy though, that looks tricky.
people would
Where's that?
leave
I think that's somebody that outside that I already probably saw.
another day.
Yeah, that's the first guy. That's the guy from the first. This is the first guy that we ever talked to. Right? That's the beginning. Yeah. Alright, so this is the last one on this floor. Then we go up. Oops. Am I trapped? Better not be trapped. Okay. You gotta worry about that in this game. Taylor. When I was 6, my father was martyred. It was a really tragic story. It's really a tragic story. He was killed while flying the flag. His body was never recovered. They only brought back a photo and a flag that they found in his pocket. It was a photo of my father and my mother. I had to struggle on my own, and it was mostly because my mother was overcome with grief. Sorry, who was martyred? His brother? My father was martyred. Oh, it's a father. Yeah, it's a picture of himself with his wife, right? Of course. Okay, I had to struggle on my own, and it was mostly because my mother was overcome with grief. For the first year or so, she would rarely leave the house. I had to take care of her, even at my young age. I didn't fully understand what happened. All I knew was that my father wasn't coming back. It wasn't until about a year had passed, and I felt terribly sick that my mother started to take to her responsibility. Sorry. She apologized and took care of me. She said she wouldn't be able to survive it if I died too. Okay, yeah, fair enough. I'm 70 years old, and those memories are still engraved in my mind. I feel like they had a great influence on who I turned out to be. I'm a tailor, but not the usual tailor. I don't see clothes. I'm different from a standard tailor. I work on flags, the country flag. I see them, and then I paint them. Paint them? Is that what a tailor does? I thought... I think you like sew the color. I don't know how it works. Because he was killed while flying the flag, I just have the obsession with flags. It's not something I question. It's mostly just like a task, a job that needs to be done. I don't have a family. I live alone. Who would want to put up with a miserable old sod like myself? I was fine being by myself. I don't get lonely because I have flags to paint. Okay. They take a lot of time and do well to keep my mind occupied. Well, that's good. Good luck with your flags, dude. Sounds great. I don't think I can go up here. Can I? Nope. Lucky I didn't get stuck in there. Alright, I'm gonna not do that because the last thing I need is to get stuck in this thing and have to walk all the way back over here. Alright, keep going pretty good. Floor 2. Okay. An engineer. I studied about electronics and communication in college, and I still work as an engineer now. I'm in my 50s, and I absolutely hate the fact that I'm getting old so fast. There are some things I used to be able to do easily that I can't do anymore. Now I have to be careful when I'm bending down because of my bones. When I was 30, our house burned down and my 2 children died in the fire. Oh, I'm really sorry to hear that. It was a tragic incident, and I don't think myself and my wife have recovered from it. Yep, that'll happen. Well, obviously I haven't, because since that incident, I haven't said a word to anyone. All you've done is write this note, huh? I still hear the screams of my children sometimes. The report said that the cause of the fire was unclear, but it was caused by some poisonous gas. Poisonous gas caused the fire. Couldn't they just die from the poisonous gas? Why did there need to be a fire causing the poisonous gas? I have a secret that no one knows. I own a secret printing house. Alright? I've always loved to read, and after the fire accident, I buried myself in books even more. The idea came to me one day to start up a printing press, and I did. I worked in secret. My wife knows nothing about it, and neither do my neighbors. I mean, you're not talking to anybody, and you have a secret printing house? Oh, let's just move on. I bought a warehouse downtown, and I made sure... How did you buy it without talking to anyone? Never mind. I bought a warehouse downtown, and I made sure it couldn't be traced back to me. The reason is because I print and distribute books that have been tagged forbidden to be read in the world. I thought that that wasn't fair. People had a right to read whatever they want and could decide on their own. This is the engineer character, mind you. We don't need some monarchy type of government putting bans on what we can read. I mean, that has to be crossing the line in human rights. Alright, yeah. I mean, this is your primary concern after your children were killed in the poison gas. It pains me that this is what the world has become. Now, is that what pains you? Interesting. I know that thoughts cannot be prevented, and as long as people can still think for themselves, let them be free to choose what to read. I feel like you kind of combined 2 stories together there, and okay, one of them should have been much more important to you than the other. It was like, just couldn't figure out how to end the first one, and just decided to start a new story instead, huh? Is that what that was? Maybe I'll just take a quick look at the other side of this. I think there's nothing there on the right, is there? Man, I wish I could run right now. Alright, so looking down here, I don't think we need to go, we don't need to like worry about walking along here at all. There's nothing here, no yellow for us to interact with. Alright, it all looks good. So So we'll just go around the other way. Obviously, this is not the staircase we'll be going out. We're so close to being done, I can taste it. The butcher. My life has taken a turn for the better. After growing up with an abusive father, it didn't seem like... by the way, I'm getting a trophy for most of these. I think any of the ones I don't get a trophy for is because I accidentally touched them earlier and got a trophy before. So anyway, my life has been taking a turn for the better. After growing up with an abusive father, it didn't seem like I was going to have a good life. My childhood have greatly shaped how I grew up. Is that right? I guess that will happen. To be honest, my childhood have greatly shaped how I grew up, to be honest. Alright, to be honest, sure. I was very insecure and ran at the first sign of trouble or violence. I still have scars from when my father injured me. It isn't something I wish for anyone. I left home and didn't look back when I was 18 and had to look after myself. It was the best decision I made for myself. From there on, I only had myself to focus on until I met my wife. I met my wife when I was 30, and I'll just say that she is the best thing that ever happened to me. Maybe the only good thing, if I'm being serious. She showed me that I could live with someone and be happy. She literally turned my life around for the better. I'm grateful that I met her, and she has stuck with me all these years. She helped me unlearn all the negative ideologies that I still had, even after many years. I was physically away from my father, but there were some parts of me that were still a part of me. No, I'm sorry. I was physically away from my father, but there were some things that were still a part of me. Now I'm 46, and my life has been great. Now I'm 46, and life has been great. I butcher meat for work, and my wife is a music teacher. She taught me how to play guitar. When we came home from work, we sit our children down and give them guitar lessons. It's usually a great time for us to bond and share details. I really like this giant bone thing that he's messing with. It's kind of funny. Sorry. It's usually a great time for us to bond and share some details of our days. I made a promise to myself that if I ever had children, I would raise them in the most loving way possible. And I believe that is exactly what I'm doing. Ah, that's nice. This is not so bad. You walk around, you get a whole bunch of stories. It's for one of these games, it's a lot to do. It's a lot to take in. You know, a lot of weird skeletons, kind of with stories, kind of funny. Fisherman. I think fishing is one of the best things that I discovered for myself to do. I used to be a fabricator, and I was very good to the extent that I owned my own weapons and factory. Okay, is that what a fabricator does? I designed many weapons for the defense of the country for years, and it made me extremely rich. The government was ready to pay a lot for the weapons that I was making, and it was great. What changed everything for me was when my son committed suicide with one of the weapons from my factory. Jesus. A weapon that I designed. It felt like my wild world crashed at that point. I had to close my factory. My wild world. I had to close my factory because of everything that happened. I decided to become a fisherman, and that is what I do with my life. I catch fish. I live alone in a small cottage at the edge of town and don't have any visitors. I thought I was doing a great job designing and making weapons for my country, but in reality, I wasn't. Because your son committed suicide, right? I get it. I have seen the first hand the damage those weapons can cause, and the country would have used them to kill innocent people. It was just how war worked. My son was supposed to inherit my business, but unfortunately that wasn't possible anymore. You just said your business was terrible. I regretted not spending more time with him. I guess that was part of the reason he killed himself. He felt unloved and unwanted. I'm 63 years old, and I still take out my small boat myself and go out into the sea to fish. The sea calms me, and fishing helps me to focus my thoughts. I don't know if I'll ever find happiness again. The only thing I can do is to live and survive another day. Yeah, apparently not. You're as dead as those fish you tried to catch. Monster. Toy maker. Toy making had been in my family for years. I learned how to make toys from my grandfather, and he learned it from his own father. It is pretty much all I have left of the memories they left behind. My parents died in a car accident when I was just clocking 2. A lot of ghost stories here. My grandfather took care of me before he died, and when I was 12. My parents were both the only child of their parents. I know I should have been excited to start a new family, but I'm antisocial. I haven't been the same since my grandfather died. I asked, wasn't sent to the orphanage, and as funny as it sounds, I, as a 12 years old, was a lot of responsibilities for one orphanage. I asked, wasn't sent to the orphanage, and as funny as it sounds, I, as a 12 years old, was a lot of responsibility for one orphanage. Nope. Okay, I don't know what the hell that meant. Not like I wanted to be kept in one. I only got a job as a cleaner after begging and promising. Put it. I only got a job as a cleaner after begging and promising to be on the scenes as my boss put it. Okay. The was really was my boss, and that was because of his family buys some toys from my shop. What? I paid the mortgage of my grandfather's shop when I was about 15. The town had tried, but they didn't help enough. A lot of customers come in here with their families, and I will admit though, it helped at first, but later it always seems like they are showing off a lot of affection in my eyes. So you're saying like too much PDA? I really should start to, but I'm not sure, and one would want to settle down with a 56 years old. I really should start to, but I'm not sure, and one would want to settle down with a 56 years old. Wow. Life's been hard for me. It's been pretty tough. I sit down sometime and think about what would have happened if I made different choices. If I begged to be part of the orphanage, but a boy should have some shame. The toys look more human than most of the dead people. They're all skeletons. Alright, so we'll be going up to next flight in a moment, but we got one last person to talk to first. Or one last corpse to read the story of. Prosecutor. Being a young prosecutor has its challenges. Though I'm 34, I'm still looked down on in my field because some claim I lack the experience and foresight that they have. I am the prosecutor for the people accused of being involved in the protests. Protests are basically a crime nowadays, because it took a protest if some sort of to destabilize the economy, and it led to the destruction of a lot of lives and properties. I'm very successful in my job, and I know it will only get bigger from here. Yep. What was I saying? I take care of my mom, and she visits me sometimes. My dad died from a heart attack a few years ago, and my mom was very sad about it for a long time. I'm all she has now. She always tells me to be careful and not let work consume my entire life. She wants me to get married so I can be happy. It doesn't matter how many times I've told her that my job makes me happy. I don't know if I want to get married. It seems like so much stress. My family might keep me from doing my job well. Even though I'm being looked down on by many people, my success rate has made them unable to criticize me much. I'm currently working on an important case. 3 children are involved in the case, and personally, I had a lot of thoughts and feelings about it. It took a lot of thought to make the right decision, but eventually they were found guilty. The decision was the supreme punishment, and I never thought that it was going to be like that. I still think about it and wonder why I feel unsettled about the decision. I guess it's because they're just children. Maybe my job, something, don't worry about it. We can't get to the end of it. Alright, let's go. We're so close to being done. I can taste it. I want that platinum trophy. I assume there's a platinum. I'm actually not sure about that. I just want to be done. I want all the trophies. Whether it results in a platinum or not, I actually don't care that much. Okay, so there's a yellow guy over there. I think there's none over here, right? There's none on this side. Nope, there's one on this side too. Alright, so let's just get this one first. Shoemaker. It is tiring. It really is. I want to rest one day and just lie down, but there's no one to watch over my business. My 4 children were not home anymore, and as much as I hate to admit it, it is not the same without them. I'm poor, and I want to keep working if I want to survive. Sorry, and I have to keep working if I want to survive. My first 2 children want to leave the country when they finish school, and the younger 2 were in university. They all were allowed to choose their careers. But there's not enough money to fund them. I should drink some water. But I also have to pee. What a conundrum. There's gotta be another water bottle out here, right? There, yeah, there it is. Oh man, it's almost out. I mean, it is out basically. Great. Alright, I might as well run to the bathroom then. Alright, back. Alright, I'm thirsty and I have to pee, but I figure I should finish this first. They all were allowed to choose their careers, but there was not enough money to fund them. No one wants to be like their old man. At the age of 60, when some were able to enjoy being grandparents... Actually, let's just leave it. Alright, yeah, I'm leaving it. Alright, I'm just going to reread that sentence, and yeah, it's all set up. Okay, we're good.
Without the British public having a proper debate about these issues.
Okay. At the age of 60, when some were able to enjoy being grandparents, I don't have the time to think about it within work. My kids say I stress myself a lot. That it is my business and I should rest. It is hard not having those kids around. As much as they were pains in the neck, I still love my kids. The small apartment I rented down the hills has never been this quiet. The owner was nice to collect money when I had it, which was not always. I hardly have enough money for each day, so I am happy that the kids are making waves out there. Being a carpenter was not really all that bad, but my kids call it old-fashioned. I always tell them that I was not this privileged to choose my work when I was young, but they don't believe me. I don't really care much about the town, but I'll say they are very good people in it. I am not really interested in talking to people, but it was not like I had the time to do so. My time is spent mostly on carpentry works. The only time I get the time to talk to the townspeople is when I'm working for them. Okay. I think I can get up onto the roof, can't I? That's gonna be the next portion. Yeah, I'm gonna go up to the roof through that area over there. But first, we do this last guy. Oh, we're so close to the end. Nice. Radio announcer. I feel like some kind of spy. I think that what I do is quite exciting. I work as a sales consultant in the store, and that is what the public only knows about me. They see me and don't look twice at me. All because people like me don't matter. We're not the ones who make a difference. My life is pretty boring, and I go to work in the morning and come back home in the evening after attending to clients and prospective clients. What they don't know is that I'm a radio presenter. As of now, there are only 2 radio channels in the country, and one of them is referred to as a ghost radio channel. This is because no one knows who manages the channel. The other radio channel is managed by the government. I'm the radio announcer of the second channel, the ghost channel. That was the first one, actually. And what I do on the channel is to tell the story of an anonymous spy. It's a story I made up myself, and it's sort of like a daydream of what I think my life should be. I think I would make a great spy. After all, I've been managing the radio channel for a long time, and no one knows it's me. It feels like I'm holding a secret from the entire world. The thought fills with a kind of giddiness. People talk about my radio channel all the time. Someone even made a blog about it, and they posted updates about the channel. I also had a fan page and was quite popular. Maybe one day I will reveal myself, but for now, I'll simply enjoy everyone being in the dark about my identity. Nice. Alright, we did it. We're so close to the end now. Wait, but where's, how do I get up? I'm pretty sure there's a way up to the roof. We'll figure it out eventually. Oh, there it is, the sea stairs. Ba-na! Oh, I bet this might be the last guy. Well, let's check, I guess. Artist. With 2 tubes of paint, I describe what the society looks like on a blank canvas. Yes! I got the platinum. Plato's Republic. Trophy earned. Ah, I did it! Game's over. I guess we'll finish this one, though. With 2 tubes of paint, I describe what society looks like on a blank canvas. Humans are quick to forget the sufferings of the past. It has to be immortalized somehow. I don't think this should be something that should just be glossed over. It's really my only passion right now, painting. At 51 years old, there isn't much to look forward to. I've passed my prime where I can say I want to do something, where I want to do someone achieve something. Where I can say I want to do someone achieve something. All I want to do is paint and smoke some cigarettes. Just make myself feel good. I hear the rumors people carry about me. Okay? They say that I'm a danger to the society. Simple because I don't make eye contact with anyone or try to relate with anybody. I didn't even speak to anyone else but myself. Yes, I'm not a friendly person. What do I need friends for anyway? All I do is that at the end of each year, I hang the paintings I finished in front of the warehouse where I live and sell them. Well, not sell exactly. All I ask for in return is a few packs of cigarettes. Some give it to me, while some give me the money to get it myself. I've met a few people who think it's a rare opportunity for them to meet me and get their hands on one of my paintings. I don't know about that. All I know is that I have images printed in my mind that I have to paint. else it would drive me insane. So that's what I do. I paint and I smoke. Nice. All right. So. Right. So if I wanted to, I could just jump off here, but that would leave me on the side that I can easily get to. The interesting thing is to jump to the other side, to the side that you're not allowed to go to. But that's it. We did it. We finished the game. Look at that. Can I go up this ladder? Probably not. It's kind of annoying. Come on, let me climb the ladder. Can't climb the ladder. I'm pretty sure I've jumped off this area before. Now, I noticed I started going through walls at some point. No, but it's only certain walls. Yeah, I can't go through these walls. I was wondering if I turned into a ghost by jumping off the building. But no, it's nothing that complicated. It's a glitch. So there's like all these tenement apartment complexes up here. And there's that giant building. But I already know that there's nothing there. Basically, when you go there, it's just like a glitchy building that you can sort of glitch into and get stuck in the floor of it. So I think we're done here. I mean, I could try walking into some of these buildings and seeing if there's any Easter eggs in them. I guess it wouldn't hurt. I guess I'm kind of curious what's around the corner. But basically, we're finished at this point. Yeah. Now it's just a matter of doing my review. Oh, I saved the video clip. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with how that went. We're basically done here. See y'all next time.